we're on one side trying to run plays and trying to do it the right way.
And they're just over here
and Enrique's out here just giving us the business for the second time. We represent everyone because we have so many talented players, and today was a testament to that.
Picture this, a packed arena, fans screaming, Team USA dominating. Now erase that image, because that's not what happened. Only 12,436 fans showed up to watch Team USA play Nigeria. That's less than half of what they could have had if a certain rookie was on the team. Want to know who? Keep watching. Diana Taurasi's selection to Team USA was marked by an unbelievable amount of controversy. There's a valid reason why it's making fans so mad. Allow me to explain it in simpler terms. By virtue of her reputation and prior achievements, Taurasi was selected as a legacy pick. Essentially, she earned a spot on the squad. It seems reasonable, doesn't it? Hold on a second. Let me tell you something. Taurasi isn't acting like the legendary player that everyone remembers. Fans have noticed a significant decline in her performance. A supporter was very direct when they said, Diana Taurasi shouldn't have made the team for real. That hurts. Oh, and it gets worse than that. It has been suggested by some that Taurasi's present performance is reminiscent of Shaquille O'Neal's slump with the Celtics. Do you recall the agony of seeing that? Just picture it happening on the Olympic stage. One outspoken supporter said they can't say they chose the team for purely basketball reasons and then pick Taurasi, who is clearly not a top 12 player anymore. That reasoning seems pretty solid, doesn't it? Things are getting really heated. Team USA's decision to prioritize an aging star over up-and-coming talent has fans baffled. Simply put, Diana Taurasi does not belong on the court right now. That was the sentiment of one enthusiastic fan. Picture this. You're a young, gifted player who gets to sit on the bench while Taurasi has a terrible game. Devastating, I'm sure. And the pain extends to the fans as well. You can feel the letdown. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. Besides Taurasi's play, this is important. Let's talk about women's basketball's future. A clash between embracing new talent and honoring legends is at the heart of the story. It all comes down to our willingness to embrace change and move forward regardless of the consequences. How on earth could Team USA come to such a divisive conclusion? Our tale takes an unexpected twist at that point. The reason being that another player was causing a stir in a manner that no one anticipated, all the while Taurasi was having trouble scoring. She isn't merely good, this rising star is revolutionizing her field. What is possible in women's basketball is being redefined by her. Plus, everyone is starting to doubt their assumptions about the selection process for these teams after her exclusion from Team USA. Which player is this unknown individual? We need to know what sets her apart. I don't understand why Team USA didn't choose her. Get ready to be engrossed in one of the most riveting stories happening in women's basketball right now. However, let's pause for a second to fully grasp the stakes before we go any further. This is about more than just a single team or player. The whole trajectory of women's basketball is at stake. It comes down to our level of openness to new ideas and technology and how much we value tradition versus progress. The basketball world is witnessing the rise of a new star as Diana Taurasi's fame appears to be waning. Caitlin Clark is her name. Not only is she talented, but she is also revolutionizing the industry. In her most recent WNBA game, Clark did something that you might have noticed. She had 19 assists. Not a typo, 19 assists in just one game. There's been a lot of buzz about a new record. This performance goes beyond being good. It makes a statement. Clark is really changing the game, not merely playing it. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. As Taurasi faltered, Clark proved once and for all why she belonged on that Olympic squad. Her performance was revolutionary, not merely remarkable. What about the followers? They took note. You may be asking, what impact could a single player have? Listen up, it's massive. It is widely believed by fans that the number of spectators could have been twice as high had Clark been a member of the Olympic team. Are you able to fathom that? There will be twice as many fans, generating the same electrifying energy that makes a basketball game so thrilling. One may ask, sure, Clark's good, but is she really that big of a deal on this point? Absolutely, is the correct response. It's not just about her victories. She's also making a statement. It wasn't merely a victory. Her performance against Cheryl Reeves' squad was a proclamation. It was clear to all onlookers that Clark is women's basketball's bright future. It becomes even more intriguing from this point on. Clark's meteoric rise is due to more than simply her remarkable basketball abilities. What she stands for is important. She is invigorating the game with her newness and excitement. Her fan base is more engaged than it has been with any player in recent memory. However, let's shift our focus to those abilities for now. Is that the game with the 19 assists? A number is just that, a number. In it, Clark demonstrates her court vision, game reading, and team setting prowess. She's doing more than scoring, she's improving the lives of those around her. The hallmark of an exceptional athlete is that quality. The admirers are taking note. Not only are they amazed, but they are also motivated. An admirer superbly stated, "I love Diana Taurasi, but her time has passed. Caitlin would have been a great asset." This has nothing to do with snubbing the game's greats. New life, new vitality, new stars, that's what it's all about. How on earth did she not make the Olympic team? That is the question everyone is now asking. It's not only the fans who are curious, everyone from basketball experts to retired players and coaches is baffled, because Clark is obviously prepared for more than just the international stage. When you see her play, she would absolutely crush it. This goes beyond the selection of a single player or team. Let's talk about women's basketball's future. Young players like Clark are more exciting to watch because of their speed, versatility, and overall play. They are challenging our preconceptions about the sport's potential. Let me tell you something, this isn't just about basketball. The spotlight is now on women's sports generally, thanks to Clark's ascent and the controversy surrounding her Olympic snub. It's getting people talking about the importance of athletes, team building, and the expansion of the game. There are more than two parties involved in the Taurasi-Clark situation. What we're seeing here is a microcosm of a much larger conflict in sports at the moment. There is the canonical group comprised of long-gone greats who have shaped the game for generations. On the flip side, there is innovation, which includes players like the up-and-comers who are changing the game and expanding the limits of what is achievable on the court. Put it in your mind, every great thing about basketball's history is embodied by Taurasi, a player who has ruled the game for many years. She is a legend in her own right. Clark, though, her future is bright. On the court, she's introducing a fresh perspective, innovative abilities, and a new style of play, not only in women's basketball, but everywhere you look. Tradition and innovation are colliding. In every sport, we observe it. The time comes to hand the baton down from one generation to the next. However, isn't it sometimes difficult? What does this mean for Team USA and women's basketball as a whole? You may be asking at this point. Now it's about more than just roster spots. What matters most is the initial process of team building. Must we abandon previous successes? Is it acceptable to continue casting famous actors and actresses who have already had their best years behind them? Another option is to try out some fresh faces. Is it better to welcome newcomers who are shaking things up even if they lack our background? These questions aren't simple. However, these are questions that Team USA, along with all other teams, must address. The choices we make today will determine how the sport develops in the years to come. Consider how this could impact the choices made by the team in the future. Perhaps there will be a shift in focus from previous successes to the present. Possibly we'll witness more teams putting their faith in young, inexperienced players. Perhaps we can learn to live in harmony with our past while still paving the way for what's to come. The selection of a team is only one aspect, though. The entire sport could be impacted by this generational shift. Different styles of play are brought in by new players. They infuse new vitality and enthusiasm. They captivate new audiences and serve as role models for aspiring athletes. How we promote the sport may also be affected by this change. The arrival of new celebrities brings with them fresh narratives and characters that viewers can relate to. It has the potential to attract individuals who have never been interested in basketball before. However, change isn't always a bed of roses. Opposition is inevitable. Some people are content with the status quo and would prefer it that way. Players like Taurasi have made significant contributions, and we must not overlook them. They change the game that everyone loves. Players like Clark have been made possible by their efforts. How then can we proceed? While looking forward, how can we respect what has come before? That is the current obstacle that women's basketball must overcome, more than just a single player or team can handle. This challenge is systemic. Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark are no longer the only ones involved. Let's talk about women's basketball's future. It all comes down to our readiness to embrace a better future by releasing the past. The media is the true game changer here, so let's discuss that. What goes down off the court is often just as significant as what occurs on it, despite your assumption to the contrary. How journalists report on Taurasi and Clark, among other athletes. Unbeknownst to you, it is influencing their professional paths. Put it in your mind, no longer is it merely news when stories about Taurasi's problems or Clark's record-breaking performance appear in the headlines. It's like weaving a tale, one that stays with you. Furthermore, these narratives, powerful indeed. Athletes' legacies are heavily influenced by these. Those days when Taurasi ruled the women's basketball world are long gone. That reputation was largely fostered by the media. Her outstanding performances, leadership, and clutch plays were lauded. However, at this moment, something is shifting in the story. Her downfall, her hardships, and her benching suddenly dominate the news. The player is the same, but the plot is totally different. We will now examine Clark. She's being portrayed by the media as the female basketball league's bright future. People are raving about her record-setting assists, her explosive play, and how she could change the game forever. She's being portrayed as the next great thing in every feature story, statistic, and highlight reel. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. Everything has changed because of social media. These days, it's not all about the major sports networks' opinions. Anyone with a smartphone these days can call a game. They aren't holding back either, believe me. I bet you've seen it before. Every game is being covered by fans who aren't afraid to tweet, post photos on Instagram, and even debate team choices on Reddit. It's as if there's a basketball conversation going on all the time. Plus, what's even better, even the players are involved. They're engaging with followers, telling their stories, and establishing themselves as brands. The way we discuss sports isn't the only thing this is altering. It is fundamentally altering what it means to be famous in the sports industry. Put it in your mind. Even before she takes the court professionally, a player like Clark can amass a huge fan base. By establishing direct relationships with her audience, she can tell her story and inspire them. This is completely different. However, not everything is peaches and cream. A double-edged sword is social media. It has the power to elevate people as easily as it can lower them. The storyline can change with the drop of a hat or a controversial comment. How much strain are these sportsmen under? I'm not joking. Remember, the fan, we will not overlook you. Never before has your opinion been more valued. Everyone has an impact on the conversation whenever they share a highlight, comment on a post, or argue about who should play on which team. What people think of these athletes and how much their careers are worth are both affected by you. And at this point, you may be asking, what are you supposed to do? Your involvement and enthusiasm as a fan have the power to influence the trajectory of the sport. It matters a lot what teams you root for, what stories you tell, and what conversations you have. Each one of them helps paint a broader picture of women's basketball. Put it in your mind. If you post that amazing Clark assist on social media, it's about more than just bragging rights. Her star power is on the rise and you're helping it.